Good afternoon, everybody. It's a rare afternoon stream. Weird, I know. We're gonna see how poor of an idea this is. Probably quite. But we'll see. My legs to wake up a little bit. We'll go from there. You realize I didn't start up sauce, so that's off to a good start. Make sure that gets started just in case there's an update. Because sometimes there is. So we'll see. It'll be the first time racing in a while. Called it. Enjoy the sauce loading. It's your advertising for sauce. Hey, Vidar, how's it going? You know, I said you should DM me on Discord, and then I forgot. I don't know if you have Discord. So, do you have a platform that you can message me on? Because it'll make sense afterwards, I promise. Oh, cool. New starting screen. You have Discord? Because you're not in the Lost Ones Discord, are you? And that's not like outing you or anything. And if you are, sorry. Don't mind me. I'm a space cadet, like. Hey, Wacky, how's it going? I don't know if I've ever really looked into messaging on Strava. I don't even know how that works. Is that a new feature of Premium? Because I don't think you can do it unless you have Premium, right? Which I do not have. Did I do that backwards? I did. Sounds good, Wacky. Because I double-checked something, and I think I can help you out. You may like my offer to you. That sounds like I'm a mafioso, but I promise I'm not. Oh, okay. Let me see. I don't have any messages. Do I need to open them? Oh. I don't typically follow people on Strava, so let me make it so you probably can. Okay, now you should be able to message me. Yeah, I had it so that only people I was following can message me, and I don't really ever use Strava, except to auto-upload things. There we go. So it didn't even let me, try to accept it. There wasn't, yeah, it's weird. So it let you think you had sent me a message, but it hadn't even passed it to me. It was in basically Narnia. I would have never gotten it, which is really amusing. Like, I feel bad because it's nothing personal when I don't follow somebody on Strava. I pretty much never use Strava. Like, Strava to me is a very personal platform. I don't use it as a social function. So, I have it open now, and I accepted your message, so... Stupid. I can go from there now. So that is resolved. So, plan today. I intend on racing. I'm just looking between 2 races. Yeah, that's really the only options right now. Because the race for Breakfast is the higher category level, which, I mean, we're talking people with a watt per kilo of 3.4, minus 2.8, and with 2 steady state climbs, it's not worth it. I need something more punchy with a lower scoring. So there's 2 races. It is currently 4:10 p.m. Let's see. So I'm just checking which one is going to have more people. We got 5 in one, 5 in the other. Midnight. Ugh. Crazy. I appreciate you being here. I'm leaning towards the second of the 2. Because the score max is higher, or is lower, rather. But I'm going to give it a little bit more time. I can see on the left side. So once it gets down to like 10 minutes, I'll double check. Been fighting a headache all day, so I'm keeping an eye on it because, unfortunately, putting a sweatband has brought it back a little bit. Not terrible, but I can tell from the pressure, so I'm hoping that endorphins and such from racing will kind of fight back. Thanks, Vita. So, we'll see. I am riding with a new saddle. I finally think I dialed in what I need. We'll have to see in time. But all of my saddle research, I believe, has paid off. I am now riding a Specialized Power 155. So I need to go wider. It didn't even dawn on me to think, hey, you've put on a little bit of weight. It means there's more pressure on your sit bones, which means that it's probably a bit of a wider sit bone now. And I needed to support that. So I'm like, duh, that was stupid of me to not think of that, so I'm running a wider saddle now. Because, I mean, I ran 143s when I was 40 or 50 pounds lighter. That worked. I am not that light anymore. I must consider this. So, that's also, I was using my sit bone measurements from college days. It's reasonable to think those have changed. So, I have an ISM on my time trial bike. Because width on a time trial bike isn't as critical, because you're so far forward that your sit bones don't even really make that level of contact. It's very different. So it hasn't posed a problem on my time trial bike, but we'll see. I might try this on the time trial bike. But a split nose on the time trial bike seemed to work better for me, just for position-wise. But this seems to be helping. Because, I mean, I've gone through a couple of saddles in the past, like, 3 months. I won't lie, most of them were from AliExpress just to go through a couple of them to test them. And that way I could finally get one with the true correct padding and everything. So it's an official saddle now. Basically, I just used AliExpress to do my testing. Yeah, if you're going to consistently use your road bike as a TT bike, but you're going to use it as a road bike still, stick with whatever road bike saddle is comfortable for you. If you're going to convert to only time trials, then possibly look at a TT specific. But you don't want to be swapping back and forth. The likelihood that you're going to mess up the position and cause injury is too high. If you're not nailing the position every time. Yeah. ISM can help that. Because, I mean, it has the split nose, so it's still good. And some people use ISM on road bikes. So. I know on my time trial bike, I do like it. Now, might I eventually switch to a wider backed one? Maybe. Who knows? So I think I'm running a 143 on it. It depends. Very hit or miss. I bought one of the 3D printed ones, and it wasn't great. But I was buying for narrower width, so. I'm gonna try riding without this today. I think pressure is too much for today, coming from a headache, so. Might be a mistake, but we'll see. It's causing too much pressure. Some days where my head just can't handle extra pressure when it's had a headache. Like, I had a Riot 3D printed saddle. Was not a fan. The nose of it rubbed way too much. Because I am a power rider, puncher. I have thicker thighs. So, was not a great experience. But this already seems to be doing much better. Oh my god. That seems miserable. I am debating doing time trial practice workouts this year for the TT series. I'm on the fence. So, we'll see. Because there's a time trial workout series on Zwift. Oh, that's nice. It's great when you do it. It sucks when you fail. Because there's an 8-week plan. Yeah, I don't remember what it's called. I think it's like TT tune-up or something. But there's an actual training plan on Zwift. 9 weeks. Oh. I mean, that's a good amount of recovery, at least. Yeah, that's true. But it's not like a series. The reason I'm interested in the training plan is because it's a multi-week build. Oh. Yeah, all of that sounds miserable. I know, Ren. That's why I'm iffy on it. 9 weeks of structured workout is not my thing, but part of me wants to see what I can do if I give it my all. Because I got wrecked last year. I was nowhere. So part of me wants to kind of see like what happens if I try, really dig in, and not just kind of do races and random efforts. Yeah, normally same, and I don't even normally do that, but I mean, it's all a balance. It's the whole thing of training sometimes sets me into a negative mindset because I have to do something, whereas just free riding and racing is different. I know. Trust me, it's not what I would normally do either. But I like giving things a shot once. Because everybody around here is stupidly strong. So, it's like, could I get close if I really push? Probably not, but I can try. Oh, I mean, if I do time trial practice, I might turn off erg mode. Because time trials are very much your own individual effort. So being able to mindlessly nail a number is pretty critical when you're in oxygen debt. You kind of want to know the feel of this is how this feels like. And I've got a power meter on the TT bike now, so. Alright, so I'm going to be honest, chat. I don't think racing's happening today. As my pulse went up, my headache crept in, so I think I'm going to spin for a little while and see if it goes away. I think I was a little ambitious. So I'll try to ride and chat for a little bit and get my heart rate down and see if that kind of eases things. Taking off the headband didn't solve it. So, this is what I got now. I'd like to still be on the bike though, so. If that means just spinning, then I'll do that for now. It sucks, but it is what it is. That's why I didn't ride this morning. So I have a feeling if I did race and push my pulse that high, I would probably get nauseous. And that's not worth it. No. Honestly, I don't watch a lot on Next. Because he's the pro climber, isn't he? The insane person who has done so many insane things in climbing. Netflix just has too much drama stuff nowadays. Everything they create is drama. Oh god. Let's hope it doesn't go poorly. Be my hope. That just... They can go so poorly. I mean, I get it. They're all adrenaline junkies, but... I have unsigned up to races. Sorry, I know that's not what everybody wanted, but... I also would like to not end this ride with a headache. So I'm going to try to keep my heart rate 130 or below. So when it was up at 140, I just felt it creeping in. So I wasn't doing really hard efforts. I tried that one push just to see. Like, is it a temporary thing? No. So, it is what it is. If you're not somebody who has frequent migraines, it's tough to understand. It sucks. So, I'll at least hopefully stay on for a bit and get the blood moving and see if that helps any. Because normally exercise does help, but today it's not. It's only making it worse. Which is fun for everybody. But it's probably also this position, because it's a headache from back here. So I'm probably just adding strain, causing it to work more instead of resting. Kickers, I had gotten rid of it before I got on the bike. So kind of sucks that it came back. I thought I was out in the clear. I'll be happy that I got on at least. That's a mini win. Better than not. And I got to confirm that the new saddle is good, so there is literally zero pain, which is huge. I've been struggling through saddles lately so much. So hopefully I'll just be able to recover I mean, maybe I'll try again tomorrow if my body's feeling good. Probably not a race, but we'll see. And then we'll continue with the Tour de Zwift on Monday. It happens, Wacky. It happens. I mean, this is the longest I've gotten to see my Festive 500 jersey in a long time, at least. There's that. It's a win. Thing's been hidden behind the ugly Tour de Zwift jersey for so long. Yeah, I definitely think it's the stress going through back here. If I was able to ride no-handed, it would probably be perfect. Solve all the problems. But there's really no easy way to take the pressure off there. It's kind of a given with road cycling. With mountain biking, it might be a little bit different, but a little bit more upright position. You used all your energy, all your mental focus. Depending how I feel tomorrow, I'll double check and see what's on for tomorrow. See if anything looks interesting. That is exactly the same problem Penguin has, Wacky. 100%. Penguin will clean and then not be able to find anything and be like, see, this is why I don't clean. I'm like, that's not how that works. It's 100% the same. But I think this week of the Tour de Zwift should be a little bit easier because I think not this next week, the week after is the out. So it's a moderate week, hard week, easy week. This week is London. Then it's Watopia. Then it is New York. I was bath salts, but unfortunately my headache crept in that I was fighting. So as soon as my heart rate went 140, my headache started creeping in. So I'm just kind of spinning my heart rate down now to try to get rid of it as much as I can before I get off the bike. I know you were excited to race. I apologize, bath salts. Trust me, I wanted to. But as I was spinning up, it was going from headache to migraine. So I knew the next step after migraine was nausea, and I'm not gonna try that. I'm good. I don't need that in my life right now. So I'm just kind of spinning easy. I'm trying to keep my heart rate under 130 because that seemed to be kind of the tipping point. Anything over 130, the blood was pumping too much and my head was feeling it. So, like I said, we'll see what's on for tomorrow. See if there's anything interesting to do tomorrow, if my body's doing fine. Basically, I also wanted to break the habit because this would be the third Saturday in a row where I've given into my body not wanting to ride. And I'm like, I can't keep doing that. Because bodies like to build habits. And if you stop riding on a certain day for a couple of days, then your body goes, oh, we just don't ride this day anymore. Okay. That's a recovery day now. And I've absolutely had that in the past, so I wanted to break the cycle and make sure it doesn't get into that. So I'm happy I at least got on to break the cycle so it doesn't go 3 Saturdays in a row. Because it was very much feeling like it was starting to get into the habit, which is bad. It doesn't help that my work has kind of ruined my typical Wednesday. They keep scheduling stuff on Mondays after my normal shift. So, screwing me over. Oh well. That's what pays the bills. Can't be too upset. I know, I saw you had signed up, Bath Salts. I'm sure you were excited. Trust me, I wanted to race, because I haven't raced in a while. And as I was talking about, I might be dipping into a time trial training 9-week plan soon. So, not 100% certain on that one yet. That's a maybe. So, and with that, I definitely will not be racing, because it will basically consume every riding day. So. But unfortunately, my lovely chronic headache migraine problem crept in today. I'm gonna guess part of it has to do with how much we're getting hit with this nasty cold snap. I may or may not be here, we'll see. That is a question. Because I'm not going to ride too much. I don't want to test my head. I'm just kind of slowly spinning down. Letting my body kind of relax again. I don't want to play with fire and see how much I can play with a headache. I'll give you a hint. I always lose. Pretty much a guarantee. Never toy with a headache. The headache wins. Kicker's like, normally I know what caused one. Couldn't tell you today. Just kind of crept in, which is always the worst. Because at least you know, like, if you know what caused it, you can kind of like work backwards and try to fix it. Either for future or for that day. But when it's kind of like a mystery, it's like, ugh. I can't fix what I don't know. It's miserable. And then you're always worried, is it going to happen again? And then that worry spirals into causing it again. It's great fun. Great fun. Would totally recommend it. I'm happy though. I've contained my heart rate, which is good. I'm at least getting some distance in and still getting some riding in, which is better than nothing. I'm glad I didn't like just cold turkey pull the plug, because I would have probably stayed a little bit more. Whereas now, as long as I stay below 130, I should be okay. It's not gone. I'm not going to pretend like it's not there. But, could be worse. Was worse. So I'm curious. For people that typically watch, would it be even remotely interesting to watch a 9-week time trial workout session? Which means no racing for 9 weeks. Because the other part is I have to actually commit to doing it, which is another part. That does not excite me. That's slightly nervy as well. Because there's no guarantee that I will. Kind of got to analyze of, can I motivate myself to do it? Because it's almost worse if I start it and drop it. Because if I start it and drop it, then it's like a hit to confidence and motivation. So, if I start it, I've got to get through it. Which is daunting in and of itself. But that's part of it, is, and that's why it's workout program is, that's what it is. It's not supposed to be easy. If you want gains, you're going to have to go through it, so. But it's the key of, I want to make sure that it's not going to, like, diminish my joy of writing, which is always my worry. Oh my god. That is a massive bird. So, that's the balance that I'm in right now, is like, I'm interested to see what would come of it in the sense of, like, gains, but I'm nervous about the change to my desire to ride through it. Of day in, day out, can I keep convincing myself to? Because it's gonna test me. Because I wouldn't start it until probably early March, I think. Probably be like first week of March. Around there. I've got to still, like, timeline out, because it would be, like, it would be for aiming towards something. So, I don't want to finish it and then have a too big of a gap period before, you know, the ultimate goal. So, I'm still working on that timeline of, like, where would it fall into. Good thing is it would be after the Tour de Zwift, so that would be a non-issue. I don't know when Zwift Games is, obviously. That'll be a question. But it's a chance of, if one of the workouts works, I could, like, swap it. But it's going to require back-to-back workout days and such, which I don't normally do. Which will be one of the real tests. Of how do I cope with back-to-back workout days when my body's not used to that. It won't be anything like the load of Festive 500, though. I definitely made sure of that. It'd be like 5 days a week, but like an hour each day, not 3. So it'd be like a third of the Festive, which I feel is very feasible. I would never do that load again, I don't think. Not without being paid or some, like, extraordinary reward. That just wasn't worth it. I feel like I'm still feeling the tax from that, which is less than great. Not exactly ecstatic about that. I feel like I almost got set back. But we'll see if, like, the new saddle helps resort or fix some of those. So, I mean, I'm almost 40 minutes in, and it seems like it's still pretty good, which the other saddles, like, they'd eventually not be terrible, but I think it's because my body just accepted that it didn't have a choice. I was going to have to deal with it, and that's about it. So. But also my time trial races will start up in April. So that'll be another interesting thing to kind of work a time trial workout series around. As if I needed that to be any more challenging. What I would probably do is leave at least a gap day between a workout and the race. So that would be almost 48 hours between the workout and the race. That should be enough, and if not, I mean, it's not much I can do. It's not going to get much better than 48 hours. I can't. If I'm trying to do a workout program, I can't give it more space than that. I saw that heart rate. Nearly tipped over. I nearly went too deep. Figure at this point it's just a zone 1-2 ride now. That's all this is. Like I said, though, it's better than sitting on the couch. At least I'm on the bike. Could be worse. It's not what I wanted, but... at least spinning the legs, getting the blood moving. And we'll see if, like, the after effects help. Because there's a chance that the, like, post effects of riding will actually be beneficial. Who knows? I don't. For all I know, you know, if I asked somebody to be like, no, you shouldn't have gone as long as you did. That was dumb. Entirely plausible. So yeah, we'll have 3 more weeks of Tour de Swift. Like, 2 gap weeks, I think, which I'll figure out what happens there. And then probably the workout sessions. And most of those I'll probably stream. I might not stream all of them, just depending. So I'll have to fit them in at some points where it might not be easy to stream because of one thing or another. And we'll see. Zwift has it at 6 a week. I don't know if I'll be able to do 6 a week. That's... might be a bit much. That's confusing that it's T. Scott behind me, but it doesn't have a friend marker. Because I have a friend on Zwift who's T. Scott. In the US. Who knows? Well, I mean, I do, because it doesn't have a friend marker, so... I know it's not, but it's weird. It's tripping me up. It's nice. I don't normally do chill rides like this, so at least that's a win. Force me into this. I don't normally have to sit and watch my pulse. Not that it's super enjoyable to do, because it's not a fun pastime to be like, am I going too hard? But it's at least forcing me into mainly Zone 1. And hey, more distance for the upgrades on this bike. It's the final bike I gotta do, so... Right? No, second bike, not final. Because I started a time trial bike, but I never... I'll probably use the time trial bike when I do my workouts, and that'll get me a lot of time on it. So that'll be good. That'll get me some good ground on it. Because I think it's like 6-hour stints at a time on the time trial bike that gets you the upgrade. And so basically each week I'll work towards an upgrade. That's 5-6 weeks each week. 5-6 hours each week is the training plan. So, hey, I mean that's a perk. It's all basically level a time trial bike. Work towards maxing that. Not that I ever really use a time trial bike in Swift. Oops. Paying attention to my heart rate, totally. Way over. Oops. Yep, I can feel that in the back of my head. Yep, that was a mistake. Can confirm. 140, still not a good idea. At least I have a number now, though. $130 is like, stay below that. 140, bad. Very bad. So, yeah, you know, that actually, thinking about the fact that I might, like, max level a bike doing the workouts is kind of a win. It's not distance-based, it's purely time-based. So, that helps me move towards the Halo bike, so, hey. What a win. But, like I said, I've got to time it out and make sure that I don't, like, finish the workout finish the workout series when it's like, oh, you're in perfect form. And have the key event be too far out or too close. So. Good thing is I've got time to plan it out. It's not like I'm too close to the event and I'm like, well, crap. Too late. So, that's good. That would always be the worry, is trying to cram it in a short period of time, which just leads to either overtraining or burnout. This should allow me to kind of work around that and not have either. So, I mean, it's supposedly designed for time trialing, so if I follow it, it should be exactly what I need. I'm curious if Bathfall's still racing, because he had signed up for one of the races that I had signed up for. So I'm sure that's why he was sad to see I was not racing. He likes tormenting me in races and then uploading the video. This thing. What is this song? Why? This does not match anything else. No. Not even a little bit. Immediately dislike. Sorry to you, but no. Yeah, tomorrow if I'm feeling good, we'll see if there's either a race or something interesting to do. I debated, there's a group doing Tour of Fire and Ice, but it's banded. And it's like, does that break my rule? I have the route badge, but it's for the Tour de Zwift. I don't know. I'm iffy on that. But it's also not like a great time, so I'd have to kind of balance things. So, I don't know. Unsure. Play it by ear tomorrow, because I also have to make sure that this doesn't continue for tomorrow. Which would suck. Crossing my fingers for that. Following someone's inner child. I hope they're having fun. Yeah, the more I think about it, the more I'm leaning towards doing the training program. Just, you know, chat can hold me to it. Get some upgrades towards the Halo bike. There's a lot of good chances to it. So, it's probable. I mean, worst case scenario, I start it and then call it. And get back to my normal. Best case scenario, I start it and see good improvements. So, big thing is I just have to remind myself that I can pull the plug if I need to. That'll be the hard part. Reminding myself that I can. Because I'm stubborn. Not that anybody around here would be shocked to hear that. Yeah, going easier below 130, even below 120 has been pretty good. My body seems content with that. It's allowing me. So, that's nice. At least I'm able to get something. So I was hating that I wasn't going to get a ride in today. After consistently hitting weekly goals and then not. Not that I'm going to hit, well, depends if I ride next tomorrow, I might. Depends. So it's like now I won't, but there's a chance. It's not a guarantee that I won't get. So I'm definitely not taxing my legs today, so it's not like my legs are going to be dead tomorrow. It's probably honestly what my legs needed most anyways. Because I really haven't been turning around every day lately. It's not like I was doing no power. I mean, my average is 132, so. It's about 1.6 watts per kilo. So, it's not bad. Not amazing, but considering, I'll take it. Take the wins where you can. Don't always get them. Hey, look. I'm trying to be positive today. It's a win. Normally, I'm just ragging on Zwift. And I wonder why I never have a chance. Who'd have thunk? Yeah, well. Don't make it so easy, Zwift. I think this is what I needed today, at least. It's not a race, but it's a clearing my head moment. Kind of dumping negative emotions. Not as much as I would like, which is where, you know, what comes out of doing the races. So when I do a race, it's always goal of dump the tank. Clear out everything. Which is why I have to be careful when I do them. Because I race all or nothing, which is not always... Stuff later to do in the day? Oops. Not anymore. My bad. Oh. That's how you get shadow banned. Yep. That's not exactly the smartest thing to say in Zwift chat. Oh boy. But I do appreciate everybody chilling with me, even though it's not the most entertaining, especially when the title was what it was. It's been an interesting road lately, for sure. Very much highs and lows. But I'll take the high of, I'll take the high of my saddle being good. That's a huge win lately that I haven't had in a while. We'll have to see if I need to tip saddle down at all, but overall, I'm happy. Which is something I can't say for my saddles lately. That's pretty nice. Oh boy. Yeah, so people are very much caught off guard by this questionable conversation. I would not be surprised if some people are shadow banned from chat after this. For sure. People don't realize that if you push the lines, The line's pushed back. So, that'll be an interesting one. And they'll be none the wiser. When you're shadow banned, you don't always know. Times that I've been wondering if I've randomly shadow banned myself. And I don't know why. But it's just that thing of like you type something in, nobody types back. And you're like, huh. What'd that do? Definitely have no intention on going up the epic. Thanks. No thanks. That will push me to go above my 130 threshold. I'm good. Yep. You have fun, Bertinato. I don't want to. 151 total meters for me is good. If I was not worrying about a threshold heart rate, sure. But I am, so. I'm haunted by these tunnels from the festive. I hate it. Still got a pretty good average speed going, probably 30 kilometers an hour. Considering, not bad. Figured it would be much slower than that. Seriously though, for everybody that's hung out, I appreciate it. It kind of kept me motivated to do a little bit more, because I had very much debated ending at 20 or 30 minutes. But being able to kind of ease and bring the heart rate down has definitely pretty much solved the problem. Not that I could go above this again, because it would just come back, but I'm not going to get off the bike heading, which is nice. That's what I was worried about and why I kind of decided to spin it out. So I didn't want to get off the bike with a headache. That would have been unpleasant. Alright. think an hour is good, considering I didn't really intend on, or I didn't know what I was going to do as soon as my headache crept in, so I'll take that. That is infinitely better than I expected. I was very much thinking that for a bit there I was going to be screwed and not be able to do much, so I'm happy with that. If I write tomorrow, I'm 50-50 on whether I stream it or not, so we'll see. But I should at least be back probably Monday. It'll be a late join because I have my stupid meeting that always, yeah. But yeah, so I'm gonna send you on a raid. If you're interested, stick around. I hope to see you next stream. I apologize they haven't been consistent. It's not really been intentional, but it is what it is. So appreciate you all. Have a good one, and I will see you next time.